FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem considers removal of team radio from Formula One broadcasts. In a bold move signaling a shift in the tone surrounding Formula One, FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem has hinted at the possible removal of team radio communications from television broadcasts. This announcement comes on the heels of his ongoing efforts to address the growing concern regarding the use of inappropriate language among drivers during live races. The issue of bad language in the sport has gained considerable attention, with several drivers caught on mic using profanities that have resonated with audiences and raised concerns among fans and stakeholders. Bin Sulayem has made it clear that maintaining the integrity and professionalism of Formula One is a priority for him, stating that such behavior should not be tolerated in a sport that acts as a global ambassador for motorsport. In recent years, team radio has become one of the most engaging aspects of Formula One broadcasts, offering fans a behind-the-scenes glimpse into the dynamic between drivers and their teams. However, the frequent exposure to uncensored communications has sparked debates about the appropriateness of certain language. Bin Sulayem's warning about potential changes to broadcasts highlights the delicate balance between transparency and decorum in the sport. The public expects us to uphold a certain standard, not just on the track but off it too, Bin Sulayem remarked during a press briefing. He continued, "Our sport is watched by millions worldwide, and it is our responsibility to set an example. While I understand the excitement that team radio brings, we must ensure that it does not compromise our values." Some fans and analysts have expressed concern over the potential removal of team radio, fearing it would diminish the excitement and strategic insight that comes with hearing live communications during races. They argue that team radio serves as an essential element of the viewing experience, providing context to the driver's decisions and race tactics. However, Bin Sulayem seems unfazed by such arguments as he asserts that he must prioritize the sport's image. The prospect of a change to how team radio is handled raises further questions about the future of Formula One broadcasting. Will the FIA take a more cautious approach to content regulation? Could we see delays in the airing of live communications to edit out inappropriate language? Or will the outright banning of team radio from broadcasts become a reality? As the Formula One 2025 season about to begin, the FIA's commitment to fostering a more respectful atmosphere within the sport seems unwavering. Bin Sulayem's stance serves as both a warning and a reminder that Formula One is not just about speed and competition. It's also about maintaining a level of professionalism that resonates with fans and stakeholders alike. Time will tell how this discussion evolves, but one thing is certain. The conversation around professionalism in motorsport is far from over. Ultimately, whether team radio remains a staple of F1 broadcasts or is curtailed in its current form, the implications of Bin Sulayem's statements highlight the evolving landscape of the sport and its commitment to upholding a respectable image in the eyes of the world. As the FIA reviews its policies, fans and teams alike will be watching closely to see how these potential changes manifest in the coming seasons. Last year, under the leadership of Mohammed bin Sulayem, the FIA implemented important changes to its international sporting code. These amendments aimed to enhance discipline and maintain integrity within motorsport, particularly Formula One. The new rules gave the FIA the authority to impose significant penalties on drivers for various types of misconduct, including unsportsmanlike behavior and breaches of protocol. The introduction of these strict regulations was part of a broader effort to ensure that all competitors adhere to the sport's ethical standards. Bin Sulayem emphasized the need for fair competition and accountability among drivers. The FIA's move to impose heavy fines and potential race bans signaled a commitment to respecting the rule of law within the sport. The changes elicited a mixed response from the racing community. Some praised the FIA for taking a firm stance against behavior that could tarnish the sport's image. Others voiced concerns about the potential for these penalties to be misapplied or perceived as overly punitive, which could stifle the competitive spirit inherent in racing. As drivers adapted to these new expectations, the focus shifted to how the rules would be enforced. The FIA stressed transparency and consistency in applying sanctions. This involved establishing clearer criteria for what constituted misconduct, aiming to minimize ambiguity in decisions made during races or off-track incidents. In this context, the sport navigated a complex landscape where maintaining excitement and competition needed to be balanced with upholding fairness and respect. As the 2025 season unfolded, the impact of these changes remained a focal point of discussion among fans, teams, and drivers, shaping the narrative of how motorsport ethics evolve in a fast-paced and high-stakes environment. Overall, the amendments to the International Sporting Code represented a significant shift in the FIA's approach, reflecting a commitment to not only sport performance, but also the broader values of respect and professionalism that underpin motorsport as a whole. Max Verstappen became the first driver to receive a punishment under the newly amended International Sporting Code when he was handed a one-day community service order. This penalty stemmed from an incident during a press conference at the 2024 Singapore Grand Prix, where Verstappen was heard swearing in response to a question. The situation raised eyebrows across the motorsport community, sparking debates about the appropriateness of such a penalty for what some considered a common expression of frustration in a high-pressure environment. Verstappen's outburst was viewed by the FIA as a breach of conduct that undermined the professionalism expected from drivers during official events. This incident highlighted the FIA's commitment to enforcing the new rules strictly, signifying that no behavior would be overlooked, regardless of a driver's status in the sport. Following the ruling, Verstappen expressed his surprise at the severity of the punishment and acknowledged the need for decorum, but also advocated for a more lenient approach to casual expressions of emotion. Reactions to the punishment varied across teams, fans, and media. Some supported the FIA's stance, arguing that it set a precedent for maintaining professionalism in the sport. Others criticized the decision as an overreach, suggesting that it could deter drivers from expressing themselves freely during press events. As the season progressed, Verstappen's penalties served as a reminder to all competitors about the implications of the new code. It sparked discussions on the balance between maintaining decorum and allowing for the authenticity and passion that can accompany competitive racing. Overall, the FIA's swift action in this instance underscored its resolve to uphold the integrity of motorsport as it embraced stricter regulations under Ben Sulayem's stewardship, aiming for a culture that values respect both on and off the track. Charles Leclerc became the second Formula One driver to receive a penalty under the revised International Sporting Code after Max Verstappen. During a media event at the 2024 Mexico City Grand Prix, Leclerc was caught swearing when expressing his frustration about a recent race incident. As a result, the FIA imposed a fine of $10,000, with half of it $5,000, suspended for a probationary period. Leclerc's outburst came at a time when tensions were high in the competitive environment of F1. His comments, seen by some as a candid expression of the pressures faced by drivers, led to mixed reactions. While some fans supported his authenticity, others viewed the swearing as unprofessional. The FIA's decision to penalize Leclerc reinforced its commitment to maintaining a level of decorum in the sport. The two incidents within a short span of time encouraged discussions among drivers, teams, and fans about the expectations of behavior in high-stress situations. Many drivers began to consider their responses more carefully during media interactions, aware that stringent consequences could follow any lapses in judgment. In light of these developments, Leclerc issued a public apology, emphasizing his respect for the sport and the need for careful communication. He acknowledged the pressures of racing and the importance of remaining composed in the face of challenges. The FIA's actions indicated a clear intention to uphold a standard of professionalism, signaling that similar infractions would not be tolerated moving forward. This incident sparked conversations around the balance between authenticity and professionalism in F1, particularly as drivers navigate the intense scrutiny of the media and fans. Overall, Leclerc's fine and the context surrounding it highlighted the evolving landscape of driver conduct in Formula One, emphasizing the ongoing efforts to foster a respectful atmosphere in a highly competitive environment. Yes, that's correct. The regulations outlined by the FIA grant stewards discretion in implementing punishments for drivers who breach conduct standards. While fines and penalties exist as guidelines, the stewards can assess the context of each incident and determine appropriate actions based on various factors, including the severity of the infraction and the circumstances surrounding it. This discretionary authority allows stewards to consider the nuances of each situation, such as whether a driver acted in a moment of heightened emotion or if the behavior was particularly egregious. The intention is not only to uphold the rules but also to promote fairness and the spirit of the sport. In the case of drivers like Charles Leclerc, stewards might weigh the impact of a driver's remarks or actions against their overall conduct throughout the season. This flexibility aims to maintain competitive integrity while also recognizing the pressures faced by athletes in high-stakes environments. Ultimately, the system allows for nuanced decisions that reflect the unique aspects of each incident, fostering an environment where behavior expectations are clear but fairly enforced. This balance is crucial in maintaining the sport's professionalism while also acknowledging the human element of competition. Yes, that appears to be the stance of FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem. He emphasizes the importance of maintaining a professional standard in communication, even in high-pressure situations like a race. While it's understandable that drivers might express frustration or excitement using colorful language, the FIA seeks to uphold the sport's integrity and respectfulness. Ben Sulayem likely believes that a zero-tolerance approach to bad language can help promote a more respectful environment, setting a precedent for both current drivers and future generations. This can also influence how fans perceive the sport, emphasizing professionalism over raw emotion. While adrenaline is a significant factor during races, stewards may see this as an opportunity to remind teams and drivers about the expectations surrounding their conduct. Imposing penalties or reprimands for inappropriate language could serve as a warning, encouraging drivers to find alternative ways to express their feelings. Ultimately, this approach aims to cultivate an atmosphere that aligns with the values of the sport, while navigating the human element of racing. It acknowledges the reality of intense competition while striving to maintain a respectful environment that reflects well on Formula One as a whole. At the FIA Officials Summit at Circuito del Jarama, Mohammed Ben Sulayem emphasized the need to address the issue of inappropriate language in motorsport communications. In the video shared by Soy Motor, he mentioned that all options are being considered to tackle this challenge effectively. Ben Sulayem's comments indicate a proactive approach, suggesting that the FIA is willing to explore various measures, whether they involve fines, mandated training sessions, or other penalties for breaches of conduct. The goal is to ensure that all participants, including drivers and team members, maintain a level of professionalism that reflects positively on the sport. This initiative underscores the FIA's commitment to upholding standards in motorsport, acknowledging that while passion and emotion are inherent in racing, there must be boundaries in how those feelings are expressed. By keeping communication respectful, the FIA aims to protect the sport's image and encourage a culture of mutual respect and professionalism. Ben Sulayem's statement is a clear message that the FIA is serious about creating a respectful environment, and it will be interesting to see what specific measures they implement moving forward. This dialogue is crucial as the sport continues to evolve, balancing the excitement of racing with the need for appropriate conduct both on and off the track. In his remarks at the FIA Summit, Mohammed Ben Sulayem highlighted the complexities of managing live communications in motorsport. He raised questions about possible solutions, including the option to shut down radios during critical moments or implement delays in communications. Do we go on and then shut down the radios of live communications? Maybe. Do we delay it? Maybe, he stated, emphasizing that the FIA is considering various approaches to maintain the integrity of the sport. His statement suggests that while the excitement of real-time communication is valued, ensuring that it aligns with the values of respect and professionalism is equally important. Ben Sulayem noted the need for collaboration with event promoters to devise effective strategies. His assertion that, "We are still the owners of the championship," reinforces the FIA's authority and commitment to guiding the future of motorsport in a way that protects its reputation. As discussions progress, it will be important for the FIA to balance innovation in communication technology with the established conduct standards, ensuring that the spirit of competition remains intact while fostering a respectful and professional environment. The outcome of these considerations could significantly impact how teams and drivers interact in real time during races. Indeed, Ben Sulayem's comments leave some ambiguity regarding whether he is advocating for a complete ban on all radio communications or simply contemplating methods to restrict or manage their broadcast. The notion of removing radio communications from the airwaves seems more probable, as this approach would still allow teams to communicate without publicly airing potentially sensitive or strategic discussions. Implementing such a measure might address concerns related to fairness and competitive advantage, while maintaining the operational functionality that teams rely on during races. It's essential to strike a balance that protects the sport's integrity, enhances the viewing experience, and ensures teams can operate effectively. The discussions are likely aimed at refining communication protocols rather than imposing strict bans. Promoters and officials will need to collaborate closely to develop guidelines that uphold professionalism and respect within the racing environment. As these conversations evolve, clarity on the specific intentions behind the proposed changes will be crucial for teams, fans, and stakeholders to understand the future landscape of motorsport communications. You're correct in noting the differences in how radio communications are managed during a Grand Prix. The standard broadcasts typically feature a delayed feed to filter out any inappropriate language, ensuring that the content remains suitable for all viewers. However, premium subscription packages offering real-time access to these communications provide an unfiltered view of the exchanges between drivers and their pit walls, enhancing the viewer experience for dedicated fans. If Ben Sulayem implements changes regarding radio communications, it could significantly impact these real-time feeds. The intent behind such changes may focus on ensuring that sensitive information or strategic discussions are not widely accessible, thus maintaining the competitive balance within the sport. Should these radio communications face restrictions, it could lead to alterations in how premium subscriptions function, potentially curtailing the real-time aspect that many subscribers value. Additionally, any arbitration led by Sulayem could spark discussions about privacy, intellectual property, and the overall integrity of racing communication. Fans who enjoy the behind-the-scenes insights that come from real-time access may express concerns about losing this aspect of the sport. Keeping the balance between enhancing the sport's integrity and preserving fan engagement will be crucial. Clear communication from governing bodies regarding potential changes will be essential for both teams and viewers to adapt and understand the implications of any new regulations in this evolving landscape. Absolutely, under the leadership of Mohammed Ben Sulayem, tensions have indeed surfaced between F1 management and drivers, particularly regarding the newly implemented misconduct rules. These regulations aim to enhance sportsmanship and hold drivers accountable for their actions, but they have prompted frustration and controversy. Max Verstappen, in particular, has emerged as a prominent figure in this heated debate. His penalty in the Singapore Grand Prix fueled discussions about the fairness and consistency of enforcement. Many, including fans and commentators, perceived Verstappen's situation as indicative of a broader issue within the sport's governance, leading some to view him as a martyr for driver rights. His reactions and outspoken criticisms highlighted the struggles drivers face under the scrutiny of strict guidelines. This friction illustrates a larger conflict between the governing body's desire for stricter oversight and drivers' push for freedom and leniency, particularly regarding race strategies and on-track behavior. The drivers argue that excessive penalties can disrupt the competitive nature of the sport, creating inequities in a high-stakes environment. Ben Sulayem's approach to enforcing these rules may be well-intentioned, aimed at preserving the sport's integrity. Still, it requires careful consideration. Ensuring that penalties are fairly and consistently applied will be critical to maintaining trust between drivers and officials. The evolving relationship between the drivers and the governing body under Ben Sulayem's leadership will undoubtedly continue to shape the narrative of the season. How both parties navigate this tension will be crucial for the future of F1, as keeping a balance between discipline and competitive spirit is essential for the sport's continued growth and popularity. Ben Sulayem's comparison of drivers in-car communication to that of rappers certainly sparked controversy during the race weekend. This analogy was perceived by many as dismissive and failing to acknowledge the intense pressure drivers face during races. The comments seem to trivialize the challenges of racing, where split-second decisions and emotions run high. In response, the Grand Prix Drivers Association, GPDA, issued a statement criticizing the remarks. They encouraged Ben Sulayem to reflect on his own tone and language, highlighting the importance of respectful communication between governing bodies and athletes. This exchange underscored the ongoing tensions between drivers and the FIA, as well as the need for better dialogue about the challenges and realities faced on the track. The GPDA's response indicates that drivers feel the need for their experiences and emotions to be understood rather than dismissed. Effective communication is essential in an environment where drivers strive for safety and fairness. This incident is a microcosm of broader issues in F1, where the relationship between drivers and the governing body is under scrutiny. As the season progresses, it will be vital for both parties to navigate these tensions constructively. Building mutual respect and understanding may help alleviate some of the ongoing friction, ultimately benefiting the sport as a whole. Balancing regulations with the realities of racing will be key in maintaining a positive relationship between those who govern and those who compete in Formula One. Ben Sulayem's assertion that the management of the FIA is none of the driver's business reflects a growing divide between the organization and the competitors it governs. This stance highlights his intention to assert authority as president, particularly in what has become a tumultuous 3 years since he succeeded Jean Todt. Since taking office, Sulayem's approach has often been criticized for lacking alignment with the driver's experiences and concerns. His recent comments could escalate tensions further, solidifying a disconnect that many believe undermines the collaborative spirit needed in the sport. The drivers, as key stakeholders in Formula One, have voiced their need for a more responsive and understanding leadership. This ongoing friction could precipitate a more significant conflict as drivers and the FIA navigate issues such as safety, regulations, and overall governance. The relationship between Sulayem and the drivers is pivotal. Harmony is essential for the sport's development and image. If drivers continue to feel sidelined, it might lead to more outspoken pushback, affecting both the FIA's authority and the dynamics within the paddock. As the season unfolds, both parties will need to find common ground. Open dialogue may be necessary to prevent further misunderstandings and foster a healthier working relationship. The stakes are high, not just for governance, but for the future direction of Formula One itself. Navigating this relationship wisely could shape a more unified and progressive path forward for the sport.